name Colorado means reddish in Spanish. The Spanish explorers named it when they saw the red mud in the Colorado River. There are also dark red canyons and red ribbons of sediment lining other canyons. Colorado is known for its mountains. There are 5 different mountain ranges which cover 54 mountains that are at least 14,000 feet above sea level. These are known as the 14ers, and many aspire to climbing them all. Colorado is the 8th largest state with an area of over 100,000 square miles. The population is about 5.8 million people. By contrast, Missouri has an area of 69,000 square miles and about 6 million people. The state of Colorado is littered with ghost towns. There are over 1,500 registered sites, with over 600 still having some remains from their previous occupants. The boom and bust of most of these towns can be attributed to the discovery of gold and silver throughout the state. One of these ghost towns is the Boston mine site. It can be reached by hiking a sloped wagon road in Mayflower Gulch. The trailhead is at nearly 11,000 feet. 17 miles south is the town of Leadville. The town of Frisco, where we live, is 12 miles north or about a 15-minute drive away. We pass Copper Ski Resort on the way to the trailhead. These are flowers and ruins along the wagon path. The middle picture is Barry taking a picture on one of the previous hikes. You can see some of the pretty wildflowers in the middle. On the right-hand side is an ore chute, and this is along the wagon path. On the left-hand side are tailings that you can see that after they process the ore, that is what is left. This is a view of the cirque as we get close to the Boston Mine ghost town. A cirque is a half-open, steep-sided hollow at the head of a valley or on a mountainside formed by glacier erosion. This hike is one of the prettiest and best in Summit County. This is the first glimpse of the Boston mining camp. This is the cirque, and Mount Fletcher is its capstone. Mount Fletcher just missed being a 14er by 5 feet. You can see the buildings that were left over from the Boston mine here. This is a panorama from another viewpoint. You can see more of the mining camp. This is the boarding house with an outhouse attached. You can also see the tree line, which is the point where the trees stop because they can no longer grow because of the altitude. Now a present-day ghost town, the cabin remnants were once prized homes to the hardy souls who braved weather extremes in an effort to extract gold from the clutches of the earth. Avalanches, howling wind, and bitter temperatures were a common occurrence at this high elevation location. Zinc propped in the 1903 birth of the Boston mine. In 1912, a big discovery of gold was found. It was mined until the 1930s. Activity in the area resumed in the 1980s when gold reached $800 an ounce. Here you can see remnants of some of the cabins, plus you can see tailings on the right-hand side. Here is a view from the side of the hill. If you go down further, you'll come to the stream, but again, you can see more tailings. One of our neighbors, Tim Raleigh, stands on the huge pile of tailings on the left-hand picture. To the right, you can see debris that is left after the ore was treated with arsenic to extract the gold. Here you can see the remains of some of the mining equipment. The implement on the right is part of the ore crushing mechanism. These are some of the pictures that we've taken on previous hikes. Barry and I are in the left-hand picture, and of course Barry's on the right, and there's our dog Duke, who is sadly no longer with us. But we used to go up and do this hike every summer and almost every winter. Here you can see a cabin. A man who once lived in this cabin returned in 1979. He found remnants of his mother's old brass bed and his old toys half buried in the cabin yard. Here are some winter scenes that one of my neighbors took on one of her hikes there. We usually would hike there in the winter as well, but I thought she got some really great pictures. Here are some more pictures. You can see our neighbors on the left-hand picture, and on the right hand it's a view through one of the cabin windows. Here is another beautiful view of the cirque in the wintertime. The snow can get very deep here, but there's a lot of wind, so it tends to be deeper in some areas and not as deep in other areas. These are pictures as we started our hike towards the Goldcrest mine, so we're getting closer to the mountains. Here on the right-hand side you can see some wildflowers, and these are called marsh marigolds. To me it's always a surprise to see that flowers can grow at such high altitudes, and they are just very abundant in the summertime. From this height you can look backward and a view of the Climax Molybdenum Company's tailings settling ponds emerges. This lies at the site of an 1879 launched silver town called Kokomo, now gone, across the 10-Mile Creek Valley. This is the entrance to the Goldcrest mine area. First glimpse of the remaining mining structures appear. The Goldcrest mine operated as late as the 1930s. There was little activity in subsequent decades, but in the 1980s, when gold prices spiked to $800 per ounce, miners once again scraped the tundra in hopes of a big strike. Mining experts estimate that there is still about $15 million to $50 million worth of gold in the area, but most of that gold would be tightly locked away in veins deep beneath the ground. In 2009, the Summit County Open Space Program paid $900,000 to buy 129 acres of mining claims where most of the gold is buried. As part of the deal, the former owners of the claims relinquished the mining permit in a move that will help preserve the environment and scenic vistas of the gulch. Here is another view of the vista facing backwards. Here are more wildflowers. Again, there are a lot of wildflowers, especially where the stream meanders through the gulch. If you look closely, you can see the cable stretching from the mining structure to the mountainside. A container of ore from the mine traveled down the cable to the mining structure. I have circled the mine shaft, and now I'm trying to follow the cable that goes down all the way to the mining structure. Here are two pictures of Tim and me. We are posing by the big mining structure. I'm on the left and Tim is on the right. We're now at 12,100 feet. You can see more of the Goldcrest mine structures. And you can also see a lot of the snow that still remains there at this altitude, even though it is well into July.
Okay, we think that there was a diesel engine in this location, which was fueled by diesel fuel, obviously, which was transferred to the engine, which sat on this platform behind me. And you'll see the tanks in a few seconds. And the cables, which ran all the way to the top of the mountain, probably were wrapped around spools on the metal parts that you see below. And those are the diesel tanks, which were piped, the diesel fuel was piped over to the engine, which powered the ore cars, which went from here all the way to the top and back, returning, of course, with ore, which was dumped to be processed further for gold and any other precious mineral.
Here are some of the closer views of the large mining structure. I'm looking down into where the ore would have come down. The middle is the structure, and the left and the right-hand pictures are looking into the structure.
After further investigation, we've discovered that the ore cars were dumped at the top of the structure that I'm standing next to. The ore continued down a chute, which is immediately to my right, and dumped where I'm standing, loaded onto another conveyance for further processing.
Okay, now we're coming down from the mine, the Goldcrest mine, and you can see the fluffy clouds that have started to accumulate. When we first started hiking, the sky was solid blue. And we're looking at the side of Gold Hill. You can see more tailings there, that big pile of white. And if you look really closely, there's some people that are standing on the left-hand side. Notice that the clouds are starting to look more ominous. By the time we got down to the parking lot, it had started to rain. We had hiked for nearly 4 hours and had an elevation gain of 1,150 feet. Okay, well, this is the end of my presentation, and here you can see some references. I got a lot of the material from the Gold Rush history of Summit County, but there are articles online from Colorado.com and Copper Mountain that also helped fill in some of the details. I hope you have enjoyed the presentation.